Hey guys, and welcome back to the HellfireComms Ghiblithon. Today we're going to be taking a look at Arrietty, otherwise known as Japanese borrowers. Ooh. This is going to be an interesting one. We are checking out the US dub of this, because sadly, Richie couldn't find the UK dub. It's a bit of a wrench, but we'll make do with what we've got, so just keep that in mind. US dub, not UK. If you need help syncing whatever copy of the movie you're using to our commentary, check the video description for some instructions. Otherwise, we're just going to get right on into the film. In 3, 2, 1. Okie dokie, Arrietty, what you got for me, Rich?
So, Arrietty, quite obviously, is based on the series of children's books The Borrowers by Mary Norton. Arrietty actually goes by a few different names. So in Japanese it was The Borrower Arrietty. In North America it was The Secret World of Arrietty, and I think everywhere else it was just called Arrietty. Largely because I think a lot more of the world know The Borrowers, so they heard Arrietty and thought, I know exactly what that is. Whereas for some bizarre reason they felt that the people in North America needed a little bit more of a clear explanation, and that actually follows through to so many elements of this film, which is really unfortunate because they... so the film came out in July 2010, receiving very positive reviews across the board. Then Studio Ghibli produced a British dub of the film, which was released in July 2011, with a really stellar cast. You had Saoirse Ronan, I think it is, as Arrietty. You had Tom Holland, aka Spider-Man, in this. You have Olivia Colman, Lydia Law, Mark Strong, and Geraldine McEwen. There's also a guy called Luke Allen Gale, but I don't know him quite so well. And that dub is brilliant. But then, when it was going to come to America, Disney decided to do their own dub, despite the fact that they already had one pre-made with a bunch of actors who would potentially still be recognised in America. But they decided to replace them with an all-American cast doing sort of pseudo-British accents, which is weird.
Oh boy.
So I'd say the most famous of those would be David Henry as the lead male. David Henry being the guy who played the future son Luke on How I Met Your Mother, and Justin Russo in The Wizard of Waverly Place. Amy Poehler, obviously one half of the amazing double act with Tina Fey, as well as all of her other many hilarious roles that she's played. And then you have Will Arnett, who most people these days would probably recognise as being Batman in the Lego movie franchise, amongst other things. And then Carol Burnett, who most people would recognise, I believe, as being Miss Hannigan in Annie, in that film from way back when. So, I don't quite know why they decided to change that. They did go on to change a few other things as well, like elements of the script. So certain situations are going to occur that are very different in the original Japanese dub and the UK dub. One of those is changing the end song and introducing a line into a final monologue, which makes no sense and changes the idea of the ending. As well as replacing the beautiful Arrietty song with a pop song by Bridget Mendler, who plays the lead character of Arrietty.
Oh boy, I just need to interject here. After we had finished recording the Ponyo commentary, Richie showed me the dub version of the ending theme. And it was like, Ponyo, 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 fishy by the sea. And I was like, oh, this is wonderful. This is very catchy. And then it was just like, drop the beat, Ponyo, da 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 Ponyo. And I couldn't fucking believe what I was hearing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And yeah, they basically sort of fecked up Arrietty as well in the dub, and I don't know whether it was after this film that sort of the relationship between Ghibli and Disney sort of started to disintegrate a little bit. I mean, it didn't majorly disintegrate, but there has been a notable difference in terms of how they've been dealt with, and I think G-Kids now has the rights to most of the Ghibli films, and they're the ones that are re-releasing them. So I don't know whether the dubbing efforts on these films had an influence in that, but yeah, that's not for me to say.
I gotta say, I think I prefer the title The Secret World of Arrietty, because it does imply that something very different from the human world, and honestly, I forgot there was a character named Arrietty from The Borrowers.
Well, because what you have with The Borrowers is you have Arrietty, you have her younger brother, who isn't actually in this film at all. Who, I can't, what's his name? Let's just give me a second.
I want to say Fidget for some reason, but I think that's another Disney character.
It's definitely not Fidget. It's, oh, for God, where is it? Okay, it's not even in the original novel. I don't know whether they actually ended up introducing him for the film.
Huh.
There was the 1997 film, which featured Jim Broadbent, John Goodman, Tom Felton.
Oh, I love that movie.
That's the one that I remember.
Yeah, fucking Draco Malfoy did play Arrietty's younger brother, I remember that now.
Yes, Pea Green, that's what he was called. But yeah, he doesn't actually seem to appear in the original novel, so I think he was introduced for that film. It seems, anyway. So I suppose, in a way, this is actually closer to the story of the original book. Although, obviously, it transports the world of where Arrietty and the Borrowers are to Japan, rather than being in the UK, which is where it is actually meant to take place.
Fair enough. This cast seems fine so far. I think you're worrying over nothing.
I think the cast is probably fine. It's more the script that is the problem. They made a number of changes that effectively changed the meaning of scenes. And so an example is there's going to be something occurring later on where Arrietty, because clearly she is a very gung-ho young lady, makes a few rather reckless decisions. And in the Japanese, and I'm pretty sure in the UK dub as well, her father, Pod, basically goes, yeah, no, that was stupid, don't ever do that again. That was dangerous, and we don't do danger.
Yeah.
But I think in this dub, he goes, yes, very good go at being adventurous and working your way through it, and that's just a very, very different interpretation of what's going on in the scene.
Now, if I'm remembering correctly, does the child, like the being child, the human child,
yes,
does he have, like, some kind of illness? Because I seem to remember on the run-up to the movie's release, it was all about a sick kid who meets a borrower.
Yes, so, effectively, so the boy's called Sho.
Uh-huh.
Well, in this version he's called Sean, because apparently they needed to Americanise it, despite the fact that they've got British accents. And there's lots of stuff in this film that is very clearly Japanese,
right,
either way. And yes, I think he's come to spend the summer in his mother's childhood home to recover, effectively. I can't remember what illness it is that he has, but he definitely has some sort of illness, and it's where he has gone to try to get better. But obviously that's going to be an interesting thing that occurs when he properly finds out about the Borrowers.
I gotta say, I always did love the Borrowers film growing up, just the concept of this, like, race of small people, not necessarily humans, almost Lilliputians, really, yes, just living alongside us in our houses and whatnot. It definitely stirs the imagination.
Oh, definitely. And also, it's quite a fun idea of the fact of they are borrowers because they borrow things that people wouldn't necessarily otherwise need.
Well, I have to object to the term borrowing.
Yes.
Then. Borrowing implies you're gonna give it back. I think a wise man once said, what are you gonna do, borrow a fry? How do you borrow a fry exactly?
Well, you see, the way that works, it's a bit disgusting, but
okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. That's enough, thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice looking film so far, I've said. The animation's
definitely
very pleasant, very easy on the eye. Who composes the film? Is it Joe Hisaishi?
The music for the film is actually by Cécile Cobel, who is the one who did the main song. But I think she did the music for, and composed the music for pretty much all of the film.
Huh.
Which I do find to be quite fascinating. So the story around it is that after the promotion ended for her songbook Volume 2, Cecile still had some promo albums left, so she sent them to people that she admired. She sent one of those to Studio Ghibli because she'd been a fan of their films for years. At the time, Arrietty was in pre-production, and producer Toshio Suzuki wanted a Celtic-inspired film score.
Ooh, nice.
Less than 10 days later, she received an email from Ghibli about her CD. The envelope, because it was handwritten, had caught the eye of Suzuki, and he had listened to the CD. He was captivated by Corbell's voice and the sound of the harp, and played the CD for the film's director and Yamaha Music. As a result, Corbell was assigned to write the title song for the film. She was later asked to write more songs. By 2009, she was asked to compose the whole score, and that was the first time a non-Japanese composer had worked with the studio. Overall, the score combined musical styles of Celtic folk music, medieval Turkish songs, Baroque madrigals, and Irish marches. It was recorded in France, with a small orchestra including acoustic guitar, bass, a string quartet, bagpipes, Irish flutes, a bodhran, percussion instruments, and accordion. And the soundtrack album won Best Original Soundtrack Album at the 2011 Japan Gold Disc Awards, and it also became an RIAJ certified gold record in Japan, where more than 200,000 copies were sold.
What a lovely story. Good on the composer.
Oh god, yes, and also Arrietty's song, which she performed and wrote and everything, it's beautiful, and it's absolutely disgusting that they decided to remove it, kind of effectively, from the American dub of the film, because they felt that they needed an American pop song called Summertime, sung by Bridget Mendler, who voices Arrietty.
Okay.
Because that was needed?
Oh, it's just a very Disney thing.
It is a very Disney thing, and that's, to be honest, a problem that I've always had with Disney. Like, there are so many songs that they've created that are stunning pieces of music, and at the end of every bloody film, they always have a pop version of that song, and it's just like, but you've got a perfectly good version that's the one that pretty much everyone is ever going to listen to. Why do you need the pop version? It's why I was very, very happy when Frozen came out, that ultimately it was the original Idina Menzel Let It Go that ended up getting all the airplay. And as much as Demi Lovato's one is actually a really good version, it was kind of the signal of going, well, actually, you know, the original version is the one that pretty much everyone wants to listen to, so...
If I might offer a counter to that, I actually enjoyed the pop version of How Far I'll Go at the end of Moana.
Oh, yeah, that one was actually quite good. Once again, I would say I prefer the one in the actual film, but I'd say they're probably one of the few instances where the pop version comes out sounding actually okay, but then it's just like, why do you need that when you've got perfectly good performers in the actual film? But that's another debate.
Well, let's move from music now to animation. The sense of scale already is amazingly done.
Oh, definitely. I mean, so the cinematography is done by Atsushi Okui. Can't remember what other films Okui's worked on, but I think probably one of the common cinematographers for Ghibli. That said, the director of the film is Hiromasa Yonebayashi, who has actually only only ended up directing 2 films for Ghibli, because they closed pretty much afterwards. And that is The Secret World of Arrietty, and then the last film in the Ghiblithon, When Marnie Was There.
Oh, okay.
But I would say that, if anything, he seems to be the one who is going on to carry the torch of Ghibli, because he's the director of Mary and the Witch's Flower, which is being produced by Studio Ghibli, which I think they're effectively a group founded using several animators formerly with Studio Ghibli.
Oh, that's great.
So they're effectively the new Ghibli, but working in a different fashion. And Mary and the Witch's Flower hasn't come out yet, as of this recording. Well, no, actually, no, apparently it has come out, but... Oh, I don't even blooming know anymore. But yes, so that's what he worked on. He also did in-between animation and key animation on films like Princess Mononoke, My Neighbours the Yamadas, Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, Tales from Earthsea, Ponyo, and then the next film in the Ghiblithon, From Up on Poppy Hill.
Neat.
So he's been very much a present force in Ghibli since the days of Mononoke, and I think that he's definitely one to watch, because Arrietty is a really good film, and I would say that When Marnie Was There is also a pretty damn good film. He's got a really nice sense of style and character and story, I feel.
I don't know whether it's just because I have strong nostalgic feelings for the live-action film, but I'm having a good time watching this so far.
I remember when I got it, because I think it was my first year at uni when it came out. I mean, let's have a look again. Okay, so no, it wasn't my first year of uni when it came out, but it was my first year at uni when I finally got around to getting it. Because I think it was when it came out on DVD, and I was just like, oh, quite would like to get that. So I got it, ended up watching it with someone that I've become friends with, and it was actually just like, actually, really enjoyed that. Because I think after Ponyo I was a bit like, oh god, I hope it's not another Ponyo, but it's really not.
Using what was that, a hairpin, a drawing pin as a rapier?
Yes.
Just recorded a quick look for Fire Emblem the Sacred Stones the other day, so the idea of a rapier sword is fresh in my mind.
I still need to play Sacred Stones. Got it as part of the Ambassador program. Still haven't touched it. I feel really bad.
It's pretty good so far. I only played about an hour of it, but I enjoyed what I played.
Oh yeah, well I mean, having played both Awakening and Fates, I basically really like Fire Emblem now. So I know that's probably slightly sacrilege to some people, because it's like, you haven't played the originals, and also it doesn't probably help that I play on like the Phoenix mode where my characters revive after every battle.
Who cares? Like, if it gets you into the series, and you go back and you purchase stuff and you help finance the company that other people like the games of, who cares? Get that elitist bullshit out of it. Like, I've seen a lot of fans out there for certain franchises, which I won't name. No, I'm not talking about Sonic. I'm not trying to start a flame war here. I don't even know where I'm going at this point. It's just indignant, impotent rage.
I totally agree. It is one of those arguments that's always just like, what planet are you on? I mean, I would say it's probably also the same thing with... There's probably a few, well, not as many, but there's probably still a few Ghibli fans out there who would look at certain films with disdain, even if that was the one that got you into Ghibli. I mean, if anybody said, oh, Tales from Mercy was the one that I first watched, and actually I quite enjoyed it, and that's got me into looking at the rest of Ghibli. Yeah. While, obviously, Tales from Mercy is a very interesting film to qualify.
Divisive.
Very divisive. You can't blame anybody if they do actually like it, and if that's then inspire them to go and look at the rest of the Ghibli collection, more power to them.
Exactly, yeah. So basically the lesson here is don't listen to NTom and his stupid opinions. If you like something, give it a shot. Within reason, of course.
Well, yeah, there are some things which just no. But I mean, in some cases like that, I'm probably a little teeny bit of a hypocrite, because I'd probably, like, anybody who says that, oh, 50 Shades of Grey got me into reading, I'd just be like, no, just no, that, don't read that, Drek. But if they're happy, more power to them.
It's fine to have hypocritical moments so long as you're self-aware and try to work through it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose that's one hypocritical moment where it's more a sense of indignation at the lack of literary quality in an item. So it's my emotions as a critic railing against the thought of, well, actually, just don't care, because if people like it, what the hey? But then it's also just like, for God's sake, stop ruining literature!
Oh, you. I didn't realise this commentary was going to be so friggin' philosophical, you know?
Well, you see, it's because it's later than we would normally start recording, and you're tired, I'm tired, so it's just a case of trying to figure out what the hell to talk about.
Yeah, whatever works. Alright, so we're in the library right now?
Honestly, not quite sure, but they're trying to get a piece of tissue out, so, that's fun.
I think Arrietty isn't taking this as seriously as she possibly should do, and yeah, that's slightly terrifying.
Very terrifying, actually.
Let me guess, he sleeps with his eyes open.
I believe so, yes.
What is that noise in the background? Is it the clock magnified because they're little?
I think it might be, yes.
That's a nice attention to detail.
There are lots of little things like that, and oh, Arrietty.
Oh, you dropped the sugar cube! We could have fed the family for generations on that. What?
Ugh, that's just creepy.
Especially when you say it in your sleep. It's like, the end is coming! You wake up, oh, I was just talking about a sale that was ending soon. I don't like the close-up of his lips.
Yeah, and I have to say I am really missing hearing Tom Holland's voice. I think part of it is that David Henry's just, I feel that little bit too old for this role. Because, so, this was 2012, so 5 years ago, so he would have been 23, so as old as I am. When Tom Holland did this role, he was about 15?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So probably much closer to the actual age of show. And also Tom Holland's just got a really nice voice, so...
Fair enough, mate. So, Sean wasn't asleep, after all. That was a bit odd.
It's clearly a little bit of a creeper.
The music is so nice. It's just pleasant in the eardrums, if you will. So let me guess, in the US version, that would be where he's like, oh, Arrietty, you'd never go and borrow it again.
Effectively, yes. I mean, let's see if I can find out if the Wikipedia page mentions the difference. No, it doesn't seem to be there, but it would be this scene, yes, where her father's going, yeah, thing. In the Japanese version, he would have been going like, that was reckless. Don't do that again. But in this one, he's just like, well, you did your best, Duck.
Shit happens. Well, I guess we'll just have to make do without sugar mountains for now. Huh. I don't think he's mentioning a few key details there.
I agree, yes.
Behold my warrior blade. Man, can we, like, borrow some video games next time? It's boring AF in here. But I just imagine, like, a whole group of borrowers carrying, like, a NES back to their whole, like, Pikmin. It's hilarious. Like, a little number appears above them and everything.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty interesting game to play, really. Rather than Pikmin, the borrowers, and the borrowers are the Pikmin. Although that would be slightly more terrifying, because the whole reason that you can live playing Pikmin is because the Pikmin, while their deaths are awful, they're non-human, and therefore they don't necessarily feel like they have as strong a meaning when they die.
They don't have
because
souls.
You can grow them very quickly. They have souls, but it doesn't feel as awful as if it was actually a human character. I mean, whenever I lost anybody in Little King's Story, it was just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Little King's Story makes you, like, really, really hate yourself for letting people die, because it gives them funerals and everything, and people mourn their deaths.
Oh my god, that's metal as fuck.
Yeah. And although I never got to see it, you could actually see the funerals take place.
Fuck that noise. I'm just gonna play Care Bears or some shit. Oh, little pill bulls. Pill bulls?
Yes.
Pill bugs. That would be a very weird thing to see miniaturized.
But yeah, it's tuck and roll, isn't it, from Bug's Life?
Yeah.
Yes. I had a moment thinking, I know it's roll, but I can't remember the name of the other one. It's just like, is it Tuck? It's Tuck, definitely, yes.
Here you go. A bargain from the human world, well, the bean world, to the borrowing world. Let our races be as one.
This is probably a slightly stupid move, but yeah, you go get that sugar cube, Duck.
Yeah, why not? You do you. Rain is so my aesthetic. Oh my god. I'm a very boring person, I know. You don't need to question me with silence.
Tom?
Yes?
I'm the guy who, on multiple occasions, has said that I like trees. I don't think I'm the one to criticise you for having interests that sometimes might be perceived as being a tad dull. I'm also the one who's had many conversations about clocks in video games.
You could have collected that water. You could have made a whole pot of tea with it.
Could have done.
I'm amazed that sugar cube wasn't snatched up immediately by ants, by the way.
I would agree on that, but evidently the ants are not around right now. I mean, it's raining, so they're probably not out and about.
Well, either that or they're helping, what's his name, Paul Rudd, do some shit.
Yes. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't tell people the whole story. It suddenly comes out and you're just like, oh, crap. I'll have to backtrack on that one.
Oh, the lies beget more lies, and the lies spawn more untruths and falsehoods. I like the mum, she's a fun character.
She is very good. I mean, I think...
I like the hysterical non-nagging mother. It's like...
Yes.
Hysterical's good, nagging is not.
Well, there's a level of nagging that is good, because there's a level of nagging which is, I care about you and I nag because I care, but then there's henpecking, which is where it goes above and beyond what is necessary.
I just love how they have to be so inventive, because they're like the size of, I don't know, a felt tip pen.
I think it's one of those things that makes the borrowers such fascinating characters, because, yeah, you look at them, and when you're that small, you've got to figure out ways to make them do human things. And so, how would they do their drying? Well, we put it on a drying line, or washing line. So, how would they create that? And so it's using a bit of thread rather than wire, and so on and so forth. And there's the ants you were talking about.
Ant-Man's eating well tonight. You looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I am, yes. I mean, more so because it's not going to be a husk of a film by a director who could have made something truly special.
Yeah, good point.
But, just because they're fun characters, and it's going to be nice that the Wasp is going to be given a reasonable amount of screen time. And yes, I think this is a little bit of the strains of Arrietty's song.
You'd have to definitely link me to that once we're done here. I'm interested.
Oh god, yes. I think it's been a long time since I've listened to it, but I remember thinking, that's actually quite beautiful.
Well, Celtic music is entirely my jam. Yes, I am a stereotype.
There's one song which is sort of Celtic, which is probably one of my favourites, and that's The Prayer. It's sort of one of those sort of Celtic operatic songs, but it's really beautiful.
Oh, hang on. Is that the song from, something Camelot?
I don't know, but it's the one which is like, lead me to the place.
Guide us, wind, and
your grace.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
Because I don't know whether it's fully Celtic, but I think there was a Celtic choir that did it, and it was beautiful.
See, look, he's doing like smelting and whatnot, and he's the size of a carrot.
Yes, it's brilliant.
A baby carrot at that. I'm liking this movie a lot so far. I don't know, it's just clicking with me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say the one thing that I will definitely say is when you get the chance, if you can get the DVD for the UK version, definitely give that one a watch. Because while this is so far still pretty decent, I think that's the one that, in terms of the script at least, is much more accurate to the tale that was trying to be told. I mean, I've actually found a blog post that somebody did on misadventures in dubbing. So it's someone from the US, and in 2012 they said that after seeing the American dub of Arrietty, they felt that they'd watched and understood only about 80% of the film. So after hunting down the original Japanese one, she noticed kind of some of the main key differences. One of them is obviously changing the name of Sho, because Sho is just a common Japanese name for a boy in Japan.
Yeah.
But they changed it to Sean for the American dub. I don't think they changed it in the UK dub. I think they kept it as Sho. And this was found to be quite bizarre, because he has a character who is clearly quite Japanese, and obviously he writes in Japanese. There's books, products, papers, all have Japanese lettering. He eats with chopsticks in dinner scenes, and both he and Haru, the housekeeper, leave their shoes outside and wear slippers indoors, which, in that very uniquely Japanese custom. And then also Nia the cat, her name is changed to Nina, so they've kind of full-on went Anglicizing everything for the American dub. Which is always a little bit... It was the whole reason why everyone freaked out well, it's not the whole reason, but it's part of the reason why everyone freaks out when the Ghost in the Shell live action was announced and they had Scarlett Johansson, because they were just like, for God's sake, just do not change her name from Kusanagi, isn't it? Obviously, they still completely bugger that up, but there was that issue, and then there was the whole thing with the Netflix Death Note of them changing Light Yagami to Light Turner, but at least that one made sense because they did said it in the US, so but it was still super dodge. So yeah, that was a whole difficulty thing. Another difference is in the Japanese version, this is what I was mentioning earlier, Pod, who is Arrietty's father, is clearly disappointed in her botched first borrowing. And when he catches her prowling around inside the walls of the big house, he chastises her quite sternly, earning an obedient apology from her. In the American version, Pod is a kind of forgiving man who boosts Arrietty's confidence by congratulating her on not panicking when Sean spots her during their midnight run. That comforting / congratulatory dialogue replaces a more mundane exchange in the Japanese version.
Well, I don't know, it still works in context, so is it really bad?
It works in context, yes, but my issue with it's the whole thing of changing art. It's always a difficult thing when you're localizing something, I get that, but that's a issue that I feel doesn't need localizing. Like, the whole point of localization and dubbing is to make a something that was created in another culture acceptable to a different culture. Part of the way of doing that is either finding a way to explain or make more bearable the cultural elements that one culture might not necessarily understand so much. And the disappointment of a father is not one of those things that is difficult to get your head around.
Not really.
It's like with, in Princess Mononoke, obviously there were the elements that were very Japanese, with very Japanese names, and those were changed to, like, mercenary or forest spirit. And while they were kind of getting rid of some of that, or changing up the way things worked, it wasn't removing the meaning. Like, the meaning was still exactly the same, it was just the words that had changed. So yeah, following on with it, one of the topics broached in the original Japanese version is the idea of divorce. Because it's revealed that Sho's parents are divorced, his father is no longer in a picture, and his mother is chastised by his mother's aunt for leaving a business trip and neglecting her sickly child. In this version, there's no mention of the divorce. Sho simply reveals to Arrietty that his parents are too busy to take care of him.
Huh. Okay, that one I don't get.
Yeah, I mean, part of me gets it because I know that even now the idea of divorce is still a little bit of a taboo subject in America, but certainly nowhere near what it used to be, because these days so many people get divorced, so it's just like, well, why not tackle that? Even if it's just a mention, it adds another bow to what's going on, and it really does just make you care a bit more about Sho, because it's just like, he's in that very difficult place between two parents who are warring against each other, and he's ill, and they sort of seem to be neglecting him in a way. Whereas if they're just too busy, it sort of doesn't quite explain why he's ended up where he has. And just kind of removes that bow from his character.
Immediately after she closes the door, 10,000 crows come barreling through the window. Huh. Throw it on the floor. Might turn into like an arcade machine or something. That's a reference for all my Animal Crossing viewers, my fans out there.
I've still never played Animal Crossing. I probably won't.
Get New Leaf, or wait for the inevitable Switch version that'll no doubt come out.
I know, but it's one of those games where you have to put in all the time, and I don't have the time to put into a game that doesn't end, and then I just feel really bad for leaving everybody.
Oh, be glad you didn't play any of the pre-New Leaf ones then. They really hammer it home there.
Oh, I know. I don't think I could live with myself.
Okay, this must be, like, the proper chastising bit, then.
Yeah, I think this is the one where, Pod, like, really chastises her quite sternly. In this one, it's not quite as, harsh, I think. And also, I do find it quite fascinating because obviously, in the 90s film version, Pod is played by Jim Broadbent, and it's a very different characterization because obviously Jim Broadbent is like a really funny guy.
A warm guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's got that warm jollity to him, and he totally brought that to that character. Whereas this version of Pod's very much more serious and reserved, and I mean, it works because if he's been living this life, and he is very particular about the way everything gets done, because that's how they survive. And so if things don't go that way, then he starts to kind of go, oh, I'm not liking this.
Look at that fancy-ass futuristic phone, it flips up and everything.
I know, it's like we're getting into proper recent territory these days with the technology in Ghibli films. Like, we spent many years with, oh, they don't even have phones, and now we've got flip phones.
Yep.
Next thing you know, we'll be having smartphones. I mean, actually, I say that. There is not a single Ghibli film in existence that has smartphones. I mean, I'm not sure whether When Marnie Was There does, but I think it's... I feel like it is just slightly before smartphones became a proper thing. In terms of where the film is set, anyway.
It'd be really interesting to see Ghibli tackle a film that deals with futuristic stuff, actually.
Obviously, it's probably not going to happen now, but it will be really interesting, and maybe Studio Ponok can do that in the future.
What does Ponok mean, anyway?
Bear with us a sec. Just gotta bear with me a few more seconds. It's from the Serbian word Ponok, so it might be Ponok or Ponok, I'm not sure, but it means midnight. Well, that's what the word is for, but it's meant to signify the beginning of a new day. And the O in the logo is a clock. So I think it's that whole idea of it's a new start for all of them.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Oh, definitely. And I really do need to watch Mary and the Witch's Flower because it looked quite beautiful and quite enjoyable, and I have liked all the films that Yonobayashi has done, so I really do need to give that a look.
I don't like the voice they chose for the brown-haired woman. I don't think it fits very well.
Yeah, so that is Haru, or in this version, Hara. I'm fine with it because it's Carol Burnett and she's awesome. But in the UK dub, she was voiced by Geraldine McEwen, who is a wonderful actress. Best known for being in The Rivals, but also probably most well known for playing Miss Marple in the ITV series Marple for many years between 2004 and 2009. And yeah, she was pretty amazing, and I think she really did do a phenomenal job in her dub of this film. And the reason I say that I think that they did do a good choice in casting Carol Burnett for this one is obviously her having played Miss Hannigan in Annie, which was a sort of similar role of an older, or well, Miss Hannigan was a middle-aged woman, but it was sort of that on the wrong side of 40 and being a little bit miserable in her life and then taking that out on everyone around her. And she pulled that off with aplomb, so I think it worked here, but I did very much like Geraldine McEwen's take on the character.
So, are we to take from this, because obviously we're talking over it, that they knew about the borrowers, Sean's family, and they wanted to make them comfortable?
I think that is the implication.
Aww.
And yeah, that's just really cute.
Oh. Just fuck my Celtic ship up, bruv.
So yeah, this is the lovely vocal cords of Cecile Corbel. And yeah, it's just a beautiful score.
I could just listen to this all day, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's just got that really nice strain of music to it. It's just beautiful. And it really does stand out in terms of Ghibli soundtracks because so many of them have that distinctly Joe Hisaishi sound, and that's beautiful and perfect. But this is its own very unique thing because obviously it is the only score to be done by someone not actually part of Ghibli.
As we
and it
established,
shows, and it works. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I think Arrietty was having a bit of a, quarter-life crisis there. It's like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Just crunching mega biscuits. I want to get out there. I want to have fun. I want to connect with humans, god damn it.
Yes, she wants to be where the people are.
Well, difference there is she already has legs. Unless we're talking about the kind of legs... I don't know. It's raining, okay?
Yeah, you started off strong and then it just it dwindled from there, I feel.
Yeah, got away from me there. Oh, I see, so they simulate their own, night times because they're inside the house. Well, if you know cats, you know they go after everything that skitters, so, if I was paying attention, I think Dad's brought a guest.
Yes, Dad has indeed brought a guest, and, it's because he's not feeling very well.
I think I remember a new character coming in roughly around this time in the live-action movie as well.
Yes, he did indeed. And I'm not quite sure what he was called in that, but this gentleman is called Spiller. Now, in this version, he is voiced by Moises Arias, who is most well known for being Rico in the Hannah Montana TV series, as well as a few other things. More recently, he was Biagio in The Kings of Summer, Bonzo Madrid in Ender's Game, and Dismaz in Ben-Hur. But that's probably your lot, I would say.
So I'm guessing if they're house borrowers, he must be like a field or wild borrower?
Effectively, yes. And then, yeah, just going back to Spiller for a second, his UK voice actor is called Luke Allen Gale. And I think he's not done many things that people would recognise. He was an army heckler in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay.
He was also Inspector Godfrey in the TV movie called Transylvania. And then he's mostly done like short films and TV series. Most famous probably being William Wheel or Welle in Dominion, but that's about it. Also Daniel Springer in Monroe, but they're not things that I have actually watched.
Not really my speed, but whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
Yeah, don't really do cricket if you ask me.
Kind of missed my window to say football's more my thing, but whatever, fuck it, I'm saying it anyway. So, Arrietty's family is completely isolated, yeah? They have no idea about other borrowers in the surrounding area.
Pretty much. I mean, part of that is because Pods and Homily, name of the mother, their whole idea is keep ourselves isolated and secluded, and that way we can stay safe. If we venture out, we will put ourselves in unnecessary danger, and so they don't want to do that, so they kept themselves to themselves. But obviously, times have changed.
Yeah. Kind of depressing, really.
Yeah.
There's this whole wide world of kin, like, just outside your doorstep, really, but you just want to stay safe, and it's kind of getting a bit too close to home right now.
But obviously, it's been made quite clear at this point that Pod and Homily effectively are planning to move. But one of the other differences that in the original Japanese is that they share a rather cryptic discussion about a big change that must occur now that Arrietty has been seen by the beings, but the audience is kept in the dark of what that change is until Arrietty figures it out for herself. Whereas in this version, it's dubbed so that the audience is perfectly clear on what's going to happen. But it's sort of unclear as to whether it was a secret held from Arrietty, which does make it a little bit messy, I feel.
Has it actually turned up yet?
It has been mentioned by Pod and Homily, saying, there's no point in changing the pictures now, and saying it'll be just as nice, I hope, and that sort of thing. I think there has been a little bit more explicit discussion, but that was the few glimpses I caught.
That's good, because obviously I haven't seen this before. I'd like to, get into the mystery at my own speed.
Although, Tom, you've seen the 1997 live-action film. It's effectively the same plot, just with a sort of different world.
Well, a secret world, if you will. Hey. I can't remember how, the last third of the live-action movie went, so yeah.
Well, it was a little bit crazy. John Goodman was properly chewing scenery throughout that.
He was loving that shit.
Yeah, there was also a whole subplot in it to do with someone's will, and trying to find that. That's obviously nowhere to be found, but the broad strokes are effectively similar.
So yeah, a borrower Once seen, must locate to another place, I suppose.
Effectively, it's not really set in stone. I think it's more Pod coming up with his own rules, and it's the reason that they've survived as long and had such a comfortable life, is that they've stuck to those rules.
Huh. That actually took me by surprise. I thought that was coming from around me because of how good the sound was.
Well, it's certainly not a good thing to be occurring, is it?
I'm taking this, thank you very much. Do you realise we're going to get the apocalypse this early before the finale?
I know, it's the borrower apocalypse where the house gets bloody destroyed. I mean, this is done out of potentially a place of caring, but it certainly doesn't feel like it right now.
I love when you get these perspective changes. Just like, oh, to the person trying to help, it's like, you know, I'm doing it out of the good of my heart. But the people who are experiencing it's like, oh my god! Ah! I said exactly what you said, just more intensely. I should really stop doing that. Again, I have to give props to the music. It's fucking stellar.
Oh, hell yes. And I will say, this cast is doing a really good job.
Pod is here. Limping, but he is here.
Oh, I bet that sounds like so many people's mums.
To be fair, a new kitchen's rad, mate, you know.
Oh, hell yes it is.
God, we're so fucking boring.
Well, you see, that's because we're both in our 20s now, and we have become afflicted by the reality of normal life and adult life. So it's just like, you get to that point, you're just like, oh, a new kitchen would be nice, or could do with a new bathroom, or maybe we should redecorate. And then sort of your care goes out of thinking, I desperately need to spend my money on the next games console to, yeah, I've probably had this carpet for about 5 years and it's really threadbare. Should probably get to sorting that one.
Well, I would probably go with the console.
I probably would as well, but that's mostly because I have not left home yet, so...
So we still have to move anyway, even after all that?
Well, especially after that, because now they know that the human beings know exactly where they are.
Yeah, worst case scenario, I guess. So do they even have, like, a destination in mind at the current moment in time?
Nope, they're just gonna embark and try to figure it out, really. They've been found and they need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. I bet what Sean's doing on this sunny afternoon is like your dream day, really, isn't it? Just reading a book in the sunshine while stroking a kitty.
Definitely the reading in the sunshine, and while the kitty and the stroking would be nice, I wouldn't like to have my head on a rock because that would be particularly uncomfortable, and also the cat would be getting in the way of my reading, so it swings in roundabouts.
I will say the one thing I have noticed is they're not adhering to she's smaller, so her voice is 10 times quieter. Probably for the best of the movie logic, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it would necessarily be quieter or whether it would be higher pitched. It's probably would be, yeah, quieter.
Both, maybe.
But that would just ruin the film.
Yeah. You're also really tiny.
Yeah, I don't think this relationship is going to go very far because the size difference is just that little bit too much. Also, this shot is iconic.
Well, you don't technically need cookies to survive. You know, you could just have... Oh, wait, US dub. When I think cookie, I think chocolate chip cookie. You know?
Yes, I think that as well. This is one of the things that's just like, guys, you really should just, you know, use our words because clearly we are correct in the things that we call our things. Clearly.
Well, there is the other dude with the bow. He was pretty hot.
Yeah, Spiller. I mean, it's a little bit morbid.
Yeah, why am I getting, like, evil vibes from Sean? I'm sure that wasn't the intention.
It's definitely not the intention. Definitely not. I think the main thing is that he's just meant to be a bit cynical, because obviously the whole thing that he's going through, his parents don't give a shit, he's ill, he's been left with his aunt, and the crazy housekeeper who just won't shut up about small people that she wants to basically get rid of, that sort of shtick.
Okay, so he's nihilistic.
Effectively, yes.
He had a good thing going until just accept shit. Like, yeah, you can't just sit about and wish stuff would happen. You've got to put willpower and effort into it. But to just sit back and accept stuff that can easily be changed is just as bad.
And actually, this is quite a fascinating conversation, because it's another one of those quite big differences.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yes. So in the Japanese, Sho blindly speculates that Arrietty's entire species is on the verge of extinction, thoughtlessly ignoring Arrietty's insistence that he stop, seemingly unaware that his words are hurtful to her, and when he does finally apologise, he reveals that he is the one who's going to become extinct, believing that he's going to die from his poor health. His selfishness and seeming inability to acknowledge Arrietty as a fellow thinking, feeling, albeit small human being is juxtaposed with his childish and very real fear of dying. In essence, he's a boy who copes with his own mortality by revelling in an obsession with death. In this version, he doesn't seem to have quite as much of an obsession with death, and he's more considerate of Arrietty's feelings. In the Japanese version of the film, he reveals that he wishes to protect her, not for her sake, but for his own, as he's been weak all his life and wants to feel useful, but that part of the conversation is left out of the dub.
Okay.
And I feel that, yeah, that really does just... it changes things enough that suddenly you're not dealing with the same character, and I think that that was part of the thing that made Sho interesting. Is he wasn't just nihilistic for the sake of it. It was a fully part of his character.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why that might bring the movie down for you, and oh dear. Yeah, this ain't gonna end well.
It's definitely not going to end well.
So I assume the housekeeper is taking the role that John Goodman played as, like, the exterminator or whatever. No, that was the other dude.
Yes, but she has taken the John Goodman-esque role, because, I mean, it was a very different type of role, because John Goodman was a crooked lawyer seeking to destroy the family house. But he was the one who found out about the borrowers and then desperately tried to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's effectively what Haru is doing in this one. She finds out about them and then tries to get rid of them.
Christ. I was only borrowing it. My money's still on you, lady.
Yeah, that cannot be fun.
I like how the music's still kind of jovial, but it's got a little bit of a dark undertone to it.
Oh, definitely. It's quite fitting.
Well, I guess I'm just going to stay out here. Cat, do my bidding. See, I'm okay with the slower moments in this film as opposed to Earthsea, because I think it works because the world is meant to be very small. You know what I mean? But in Earthsea, it's meant to be grand. So when you take too much time taking in everything, it just, I want to see more of the world, you know?
Yeah, whereas pretty much the entirety of this film takes place in this house and in the crevices around it. And you're dealing with characters who are much more carefully realised and much clearer from the off. And so you're able to have these moments of more downtime. Also helps that, you know, it's like half an hour shorter than Earthsea.
Oh, yes!
And it also helps that there is a much better balance of action and slow moments, and it balances a lot more. It balances it a lot more effectively.
Oh, that's just mean. Yeah, I think the mum might be one of my favourite characters in the movie.
She's pretty good. I mean, it does help that she's voiced by Amy Poehler, who is just awesome. And obviously in the UK dub, she is voiced brilliantly by Olivia Colman, who is basically one of the UK's favourite actresses, I think, at this point.
Clara, my Clara.
Wrong person. But she was in the running to play the Doctor, I think. She was the one that I think probably most people were saying, please, 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 can she be the first female Doctor?
No, dude, I was saying she's Clara.
She's not Clara, because it's Olivia Colman, not Jenna Louise Coleman.
Oh, fuck me! Oh my god, rookie mistake, Tom.
But she has worked with David Tennant, because she had the role of DS Ellie Miller on Broadchurch.
Ah, there you go.
She's also PC Doris Thatcher in Hot Fuzz.
Oh, the woman who's in everything in British TV.
Pretty much, yes. She was also in Peep Show, did a lot of stuff with David Mitchell and Robert Webb. She's also going to be playing Elizabeth II in the 3rd and 4th seasons of Netflix's The Crown. And yeah, she's one of those British actresses who is phenomenal. And yeah, she plays the mother in the UK dub. And she does a really good job of that one as well. And obviously I did mention it at the start, but Pod, while he is here voiced by Will Arnett, in the UK version he's voiced by Mark Strong, who most people would recognise from a lot of Matthew Vaughn films like Stardust, Kick-Ass, Kingsman and its sequel, and also the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes, and various other things, and he is also a pretty excellent actor. I think that's part of the reason why I do get confused as to why they did change the dub, because it was a perfectly good dub. While I know that a lot of the actors are probably more famous in the UK, and definitely were at that time, since then, Tom Holland has obviously risen to global fame. Saoirse Ronan has also kind of achieved a level of global fame, and was even on SNL a couple of weeks ago as of when we were recording this.
Wow.
And then obviously most people would recognise Mark Strong from lots of big Hollywood movies. But I think, yeah, they just clearly felt that they would go for a more American cast for some reason.
Well, I hope when you come to judge the movie at the end of this commentary, you won't take the dub into effect, because you got to remember, we're scoring on terms of like, well, actually, maybe I'll allow that, because we're not ranking these movies in terms of objective quality for the most part. It's personal enjoyment, and Earthsea may not be great on a, I don't know, just a artistic standpoint, but I didn't really care for it. That's why it got the grade that it did.
Yes. I mean, what I will probably do for me anyway is I'll do a sort of double score.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll give you a score for the UK dub, and I'll give you a score for the American dub.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like the motion blur back there. Isn't this technically illegal at this point? You don't need to look up. You don't need to look up the law. It's fine.
Oh no, I wasn't doing that. I was just having a think for a minute. But I should point out actually that this is all following quite closely to the original story of the Borrowers in that novel, which I am really liking. The kind of biggest change, I would say, is the name of characters. So the Haru character is, I believe, called Mrs. Driver, and she is the housekeeper and cook. The Sean or Show character is just called the boy. The aunt, who in this film is called Sadako, or Aunt Sadako, she is Aunt May. Well, actually, no, she's not Aunt May, she's Great Aunt Sophie. Aunt May, or Mrs. May, is the boy's sister, who tells a young girl called Kate the story of the Borrowers that was told to her by the boy. And then the surname of the Borrowers is Clock. I don't know whether that's the case here. I think it's just Arrietty, Pod, Homily. But also featured are Hendreary Clock, Arrietty's uncle, Loopy Clock, who is Uncle Hendreary's wife, Eglistina Clock, who is Uncle Hendreary's daughter by his first marriage, and those are pretty much all the Borrowers that you get in the book. I think you do get another one like Speller, but I don't think he is necessarily mentioned here.
I gotta say, when they were working together to open that window, it put me in mind of The Last Guardian for some reason.
Still need to play The Last Guardian.
It's decent. I'll say no more. You can check out my live stream of it for the Sony Fun if you want to see me playing it. I don't know if we'll do a full playthrough. Maybe we will. I just need to practice up a little bit. But maybe Ueda of Team Eco had some inspiration from the Borrowers. Just the idea of a tiny person clambering over a larger being. Doesn't have to be human. Could be an animal. Even a colossi.
Yes. Wouldn't surprise me if that was perhaps some form of influence. Perhaps less so, I feel. If only because I know that The Borrowers is a very much British book series, and so it probably has more effect here than it would in Japan. But obviously the fact that this Ghibli version of the series was made, perhaps it does have a surprisingly big following in Japan.
Well, mate, they have foreign sections in libraries, you know.
I know, but it's the whole thing of where you draw your influences from. And I don't know whether perhaps The Borrowers has a bigger fan base in the UK than perhaps Japan, but I could be quite wrong on that front.
Yeah, well, let us know. Chime in, guys, in the comments. Like, if you're from outside the UK or the US, what was your experience with The Borrowers growing up? Let us know.
I mean, from the looks of things, the film did do very well at the box office, because more than 1 million people went to see it in its opening weekend. And distributor Toho announced that as of August the 5th, 2010, it had managed to gross more than 3.5 billion yen and attracted more than 3.7 million viewers. So it did very well in Japan.
Okay, I just have to address something. You may have even noticed it yourself. What does it say on the fridge, Richie?
Well, I can't see it at present because I'm looking at it from the very wrong angle.
It said Smeg. S-M-E-G.
Oh no.
We Red Dwarf now.
God. Oh no. No.
Not in my pure borrower's world. No, Tom. No, naughty.
Oh, I did not need that.
That's me. Whenever I listen to Celtic music, it just puts me at ease. I don't like this housekeeper, although I guess that's the point.
That's entirely the point.
This movie's flown. The pacing is really good.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think the reason that it works is because it does just strike that balance between having enough action in it to keep it engaging, but also having those slower character moments, but not allowing them to be over the top in terms of how long they take, and actually getting to the point.
There we go. She's really become a full-fledged borrower now, all on her own as well.
Indeed. Yeah, so that's the exterminators coming to the door, I feel.
Well, if it isn't that bloke from the Fast Show, I don't care. I always forget his name.
I don't even remember that show, so...
It's fine. He plays Arthur Weasley, Ron's dad in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Yes, I know who you're talking about now.
He also plays Rory's dad in Doctor Who.
I know. I'm still very gutted that we didn't get that alternate ending to
P.S.
Amy and Rory's story. Yes, because I mean, this is going way away from Arrietty, but I always felt that just the end of Amy and Rory's story was just a little bit perhaps unfinished, I feel.
It was rushed is what it was.
It was rushed, yeah. And I think that that ending would have... The ending that was shown with Amy and Rory's... Was it grandson, I think?
Adopted grandson, yeah.
Adopted grandson, going to see Rory's dad. It was very touching, and I think would have been a very mature way to end their story, and also would have been much more emotional, I feel.
I think it's plenty emotional as is, honestly. I felt myself tearing up, and the best thing is that it was written by the new showrunner for Doctor Who, Chris Chibnall.
Oh, it's a positive sign.
So, you may not like the stories he's done for Who, like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, I think is one of his.
Yes.
One that I've never really finished. Nothing about the quality of the episode, I just got bored of it. But yeah, I think he's going to be a good showrunner. I think they've got a writer's room for the show now, so be able to toss around ideas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think... Obviously, we should be talking about Arrietty, but we'll just finish the Doctor Who talk now. I think the one thing that Russell T Davies' era worked is because he had a view over the entirety of the series, and he made sure that it was consistent throughout. So even though there were stories that were perhaps weaker than others, they had the same tone, and so even the worst episodes were still relatively enjoyable because they all worked together.
Well, I heavily disagree there. Fear her.
Well, yeah, apart from that one. But the issue that Stephen Moffat had was that all of the episodes were just very individual, and while he could write a damn good episode, he was really bad at creating those overarching narratives and seamlessly knitting the bigger arc of the narrative into all of them. So you just ended up with these really lopsided series and characters who were never really fully formed or never truly had arcs in a way.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a mess. So I'm quite excited for a new era of Who.
For sure.
It's just a shame that we're losing Peter Capaldi because he was excellent.
Oh, I'm going to be so sad on Christmas Day. When he goes, I'm going to cry like a bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to be a mess.
Ah, I think you are going crazy, housekeeper woman. Everything is as it was. You lose, ha-ha! What a little shit. Look at his knowing smile. Wait for it.
I agree.
A good nose on her.
Very good nose, if you ask me.
Debatable. They should be called the givers and sometimes take-backers.
No, really, they should be called the takers, sometimes give a backerers.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Jeez.
Well, actually, no, never give a backerers, but...
Once again, how you gonna borrow a fry? Haha, you lose, woman! What a pleasant movie.
Very pleasant, very delightful. They're gone, sucker!
Sorry to bring you all this way for an empty jar. You know, no, you're not getting paid. Go away. What a take. What voice direction. After all that, they still have to leave.
Yeah.
Poco, you motherfuckers!
Yes, it makes sense that they would be the villains at the end of this film.
So where is Spiller? We haven't really seen much of him at all.
I'm sure he will return to help them on their way. But we've got to get to that point first.
What's your opinion on yellow blob on toast, mate?
I'm I mean, I'm not sure about yellow blob on toast, but if it was cheese on toast, totally fine with that. Love a bit of cheese on toast.
Hell yeah.
So, since we are getting pretty close to the end now, would you like to hear some of the reviews?
Go for it.
For Arrietty. So, Steve Rose, reviewer for The Guardian, gave it 4 out of 5, describing it as a gentle and entrancing tale, deeper and richer than more instantly gratifying fare. Also describing it as the soul food of the animation world. He did note that the film doesn't match previous hits such as Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke in terms of epic scale or adult appeal, even though it bears many of their hallmarks, bright, detailed animation, and so on and so forth. I feel that that is accurate.
Yes.
In that it doesn't hit those heights, but it isn't necessarily trying to, and that's why I'm okay with it. Deborah Young of The Hollywood Reporter said that the film remains essentially a film for children, and saying that the relationship with Sho and Arrietty touches the heartstrings with gentle yearning. More debatable, but still. David Gritton of The Telegraph said the film was ravishingly colourful and textured, praising the animation, saying it doesn't get better than Arrietty. Don Groves, our Special Broadcasting Service, gave it a mixed review, saying that it was a very slender minor work, criticising the film's storyline, calling it a gentle, humourless, uncomplicated tale of friendship in an alien environment. I'm not sure that I would necessarily say that that's an entirely negative thing. If you remove the word humourless, then I would say that a gentle, uncomplicated tale of friendship in an alien environment is a perfect descriptor for this story, and one that I would say that is actually quite delightful.
I don't even understand the use of the word humourless in that context.
I know, I don't either. It doesn't really fit for me. Zach Bertsky of Anime News Network praised the voice acting of the film, praised the intricate details of the film's backgrounds, but said that there isn't more going on here, even when it comes to the film's basic story. But he did say that it is foolish to deny the simple, warm, and familiar pleasures of Arrietty's world. Leslie Felperine of Variety praised the film as old school, mostly in a good way, and praised the animation and Yunobayashi's direction, but did note that the film lacked in its approach to storytelling that made Ghibli's other films so compelling. You also had Manola Dargis of the New York Times enjoying the hand-drawn animation, Yunobayashi's direction, saying that the film has a way of taking the audience where they may not expect. Kenneth Sheeran of the Los Angeles Times described it as beautiful, gentle and pure. Lisa Schwarzbaum of Entertainment Weekly said that the result of the film is a dreamy, soft-edged hybrid, equally interested in observing raindrops and the worries of a race of minuscule beings. So I think on the whole, pretty much the reviews got it pretty spot on. There's just a few where I'm a bit like, not sure.
Oh, what a view. Breath of the Wild, Dutchif. I'm fucking obsessed with that game, I'm sorry.
You are indeed. It's fine, I totally get the reason for the obsession. I was certainly obsessed with it for a while too, but then I moved on to Odyssey, so...
Fair enough, mate. Oh, what? Oh no, going from a great game to a great game, how dare you.
I know. It's shameful, isn't it?
At the time we're recording this, December 14th, haven't started the Odyssey HFC playthrough yet. It's going to be live, it's going to be mostly blind, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it too. It should be a delightful run.
No, Spiller, don't! Aww. I like how I did the slow blink thing, by the way, back there, which is, it doesn't need to be spelled out, but that's how cats say, I like you, basically. Ah, it all goes back to the sugar cube.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm getting kind of sad now.
I know, it is a very bittersweet ending, I feel. I was about to say heartwarming, but then it's more bittersweet than anything.
Now don't forget, you're only borrowing this. I like the girl who plays Arrietty in the US dub.
Yeah, she does a very good job. It's Bridget Mendler. And yes, this monologue doesn't exist in the original dub.
Ah.
In the original Japanese, Sho looks happy, relieved, and promises that he will never forget Arrietty, and it ends with the image of Arrietty sailing down the river with Spiller and the gang. There's little else said, so Sho's morbid predictions could just be speculation. And also his own future's left in doubt, but in the American version, he says, I survived the operation, I'm now standing here remembering my friendship with Arrietty, and all is well, but it kind of takes away a little bit of the ambiguity at the end of the film. I don't necessarily feel that's a hugely bad thing, because the film ends with a sort of more delightful end, but I think that the ambiguity did perhaps help the film in just furthering that bittersweetness.
It's a very bittersweet feeling just running throughout the film, really.
Yes.
It's weird, because it's very heartwarming and, just pleasant in general, but it's got the melancholy of just life as well.
Exactly. So yeah, so on the whole, I would probably give this dub of the film I'm going to say a B-.
Okay.
If only because I feel that artistically it makes a few decisions that are questionable and shouldn't have been made. I would, however, give the UK dub of the film probably a B+.
Okay, just let me make the distinction here. UK dub B+, was it?
Yes.
Okay. I might surprise you. I'm going to give this an A on the dot. I really enjoyed it. That may owe a lot to the fact that I just enjoyed the original Burroughs live-action film, but I thought it was pleasant. I thought it was simple without being patronisingly so. It doesn't live up to the heights of Howl's Moving Castle or Spirited Away, but it's not that type of story. It didn't need to. The characters were great. I love the art style. The animation was fluid. The music, phenomenal. One of my favourite Ghibli scores by far. And it was just a very, like we said multiple times, a very pleasant movie to watch. So while it's, again, not up there with Spirited Away, it's definitely not down there with Only Yesterday, that's for sure. But, that'll do it for Arrietty, guys. Thank you so much for listening to our commentary. Next time, we'll be having a bit of From Up on Poppy Hill. See you then.